My friend the other day was like, I think I'd maybe like to find peace, maybe find religion. And I'm just, here like, I kind of like living with my hate, makes me feel alive. Hello, and welcome my friends to Subliminal Vengeance. I'm Jessyka.
Ready to get you out.
So, what I wanted to talk about today is the fact that Prison Break is coming back on Monday, and Prison Break is one of my all-time favorite TV shows. I absolutely love it. It's such a good show. I'll be honest, I have my doubts about what this new season's going to be like, how good it's going to be, because one thing I really liked about Prison Break was that it knew when to stop. It only did 4 seasons, which is pretty short for an American show, but they rounded it off. All the story, everything was complete, there was no loose ends, and they didn't drag it out and make it stupid. I do have my doubts about what this new one will be like, but I'm gonna watch it anyway because I do love Prison Break. But what I thought I would do is take the chance to look back of the 4 seasons of Prison Break that we know and love. This will contain spoilers. This isn't really designed for people who haven't seen the show and maybe want to be convinced to watch the show. This is more for people who have seen it and want a bit of a recap. I remember when I watched it for the first time. I didn't watch it when it was actually on TV. I watched it early, like 2009, so like a year after it finished up pretty much. And my brother got the box set on DVD, and so we all sat down as a family. Me, my mum and my brothers, we pretty much watched it religiously every day. It's like, do we have time for an episode of Prison Break? I think we can fit an episode of Prison Break in, and it's really addictive. Because you watch one episode and they always end on cliffhangers, so you always have to watch the next one. There's just this need of, I have to watch the next one, I have to know what happens. And it's such a well written show. The characters, they seem like real people. There's also the whole in-depth conspiracy of it all, which I love a good conspiracy. I really do. So there's just so much to keep you hooked. But let's start right back at the beginning, season 1. How the whole of Prison Break begins. Lincoln Burrows is on death row, has been sentenced to death for the murder of Terrence Steadman, who is the vice president's brother.
Terrence Steadman, the vice president's brother. Do you have any idea what they're going to do to you?
I didn't do it, man. It was a setup.
Nick's brother, Michael Schofield, comes to believe that he is innocent and has been framed, so he gets himself incarcerated by robbing a bank, and he goes in to prison with an escape plan and the blueprints of the prison tattooed on his body. Brilliant idea. Very well thought out. And that's the thing about Schofield. It's what makes him such a great character is he's just so intelligent. He knows how to think 20 steps ahead of himself. When he's dealing with people, he can second guess, third guess all their actions and the things they're gonna do. So he'll do certain things knowing they're gonna act a certain way. And the amount of times you watch it and sometimes people will be like, what is he doing? Why is he doing that? It's trust me. Schofield has a reason. He always has a reason, and there's always some smart outcome that comes from the actions he does. To get Link out of prison, to pull off the escape plan, he does have to bring some people in. Obviously his cellmate, Fernando Sucre, has to come in on it because you can't really be digging a hole in your cell if the guy you're in there with isn't in on it.
Sneaky son of a bitch. You think you found the hole?
Then John Abruzzi is in on it because he, Schofield knows that they'll need a guy on the outside who can help make them disappear, who has connections. Abruzzi, being a mob boss guy, has those connections.
My mistake. Just what I need. A duck.
And then there's also Charles Westmoreland, who is revealed to be D.B. Cooper, so he has 5 million sitting somewhere, and they need him for the money. Now he actually dies before, like literally just before they escape, but he does reveal the information as to where the money is, which is what begins a big part of season 2, but I'll get to that in a minute. Also, who comes along on the escape are mainly people who find out it's happening and say, I come, or I blow the whistle. So that brings Cena or Benjamin Franklin into it.
I don't know about you all, but this room is getting a little too dark for me to dig.
Are you telling me that there's a hole in Fox River that you don't want to get into?
Theodore Bagwell, Teabag,
You know who else thinks? Elephants. That's right, elephants.
and Charles Patoshik, Haywire, and David Apolsky or Tweena.
Still interested in getting in on PI?
Does my mama got big breastises?
I wouldn't know.
Hell yeah, she does. And hell yeah, I do.
So they all escape. But whilst all this is happening, there's, Schofield only has a small amount of time to get this escape done. Because obviously Link has his death sentence coming up, and there's constant times where they're having to intervene. About halfway through the season they attempt to escape and it all doesn't work out, but they manage to postpone his death sentence. All these things are happening. Because the infirmary is an integral part of the escape, Schofield has to fake type 1 diabetes and ends up sort of falling in love with the prison doctor there, Sarah Tancredi. Whilst all this is happening, you have brothers, lawyer and friend, Veronica Donovan. She starts to investigate this idea of Link having been framed and the whole conspiracy behind that, and so information is revealed regarding the company, and I do love a good conspiracy. And yeah, it all turns out that Link was framed and Terrence Steadman is actually alive, and that's how the first season ends. Veronica tracks him down, and then he's happily alive sitting in this nice little home in Blackfoot County, Montana. But of course the escape is really only the beginning of a prison break, because in comes season 2, where they're on the run, and they have many hiccups along the way. Plan A doesn't really work out, so Schofield has to get to work on Plan B, but there's also everyone who knows about the money, and the fact that it's in Utah, everyone's kind of ending up going there. But the manhunt has also begun, and that's where we are introduced to Alexander Mahone, who is an excellent character, and it's so well acted.
Now she's in protective custody and I'm living in a warehouse trying to find the son of a bitch killed my kid.
We're all here for something.
Mahone is an interesting character. It's revealed that he was on the trail of a guy named Oscar Shales. He kind of couldn't handle it. He was always, one step ahead of him, it seemed. And Mahone is similar to Schofield. He's able to think several steps ahead of the criminals he's after. That's what makes him good. But kind of with Schofield, he meets his match, really. And it was a similar thing with Oscar Shales. And what he did with him is he ended up killing him and burying him in his back garden. Such an interesting character. And you can see how he's slowly being driven insane. But he's asked by the company, well, I say asked, more threatened by the company, that he will not just capture these people, but when he captures them, he will kill them. They want them dead. They don't want them alive. Particularly Schofield and Link. They all end up in Panama. Well, I say all. Small few that end up left. We do lose several of our escapees along the way, including Abruzzi's death, which I for some reason always find sad.
Kneel only to God.
Don't see him here.
Schofield, Bellick, Teabag, and Mahone all end up slung in the Panamanian prison Sona, and thus begins season 3. We kind of leave off at the end of season 2. He's chucked into this prison and he's just looking around, and you're kind of thinking, it begins again. He's back in prison, back to the start, and he's got to try and break out again. This time he doesn't have the blueprints, this time he doesn't have a ready-made plan, and Sona isn't like any other prison. It's based on an actual prison. The prisoners are just kind of left to themselves. The guards are outside, make sure no one gets out, but apart from that, the prisoners, there's no structure. They're just left to run around and do what they want in there, and it's kind of chaos. They're given a small amount of water and food every day that has to be leaked out, and it's pretty rough. It's a pretty horrible prison. He is blackmailed by the company. Sarah and Link's son LJ gets kidnapped and held hostage, and Schofield is told that he has to break out an inmate called James Whistler or they die, pretty much. Now at first, Schofield can't even find this Whistler. He eventually finds him hidden in the walls, and just like before with the first prison escape, Schofield can't really do it all on his own, and he has to inevitably bring in some help. So Mahone kind of goes from being an enemy to an ally, and that's when we really start to love Mahone. Well, when I do. Anyway, I hated him in the second season. The person who's taken Sarah and LJ hostage is Susan B. Anthony, or actually as she is revealed to be, Gretchen, who is a member of the company, and quite a main character from that point out, so not one to forget about. It turns out the reason they want Whistler is he is a part of the company, and it's just more mess. But yeah, pretty much season 3 is them and Sona and slowly finding a way to break out. You know, Schofield does have Link on the outside. He's able to sometimes get things in. He has to make some odd alliances, as he did with the first one, in order to try and make his way out. They eventually do it. However, before the escape is made, Sarah is killed. Or so we think.
She's dead, Michael. I lied to you. I'm sorry. If you don't break out today, they're gonna kill my son.
But they get out, they realize Whistler is a douchebag, and season 4 begins. As always, with all the seasons, there's the continuing development of telling us more about the company and what's going on. And that's really what sets up the 4th season, is where it all kicks off. A group of them, which is Link, Schofield, Sarah, Sucre, Bellick, Mahone, and I think that's it, are employed, sort of, but not officially, because they are criminals, highly wanted criminals at that, but they are employed of sorts to find something called Scylla in order to bring down the company. And this season is crazy because every single episode feels like a film. Like, there's a lot of, because with Scylla, it's all these different cards that belong to different people, and they have to collect them all, and they're collective, and then different people are slowly stealing Scylla, and it just is very difficult, but always have faith in Schofield throughout that time.
What I want
see the company burn to the ground and you in prison.
He knows.
This is a list of everyone you've killed. We did this to you.
It all culminates, and sadly it ends with Schofield dies. They win, they take down the company, all of that, but sadly Schofield does die in the end, and that's how the show ends.
I wish I could be there with you. But as you probably know now, I wouldn't have had much time anyway, so I made my choice, and I don't regret it.
You do find out how in a sort of extra thing they brought out, little like extra 2-part episode called The Final Break, where Sarah gets put in prison, so there is yet another prison break, and he gives his life via electrocution in order to let Sarah out. I always viewed it as a happy ending, really. He was gonna die anyway. He had a brain tumor. Hopefully I've reminded you. I know there's a lot I've missed out. The thing is, it's such an in-depth show, and it's not even that I don't remember everything. It's partly that, but there's just too much to talk about, and I don't want to drone on forever. I just wanted to kind of quickly remind people and recap over certain things and certain characters. If you are a Prison Break fan, I would love to know what's your favourite season, who's your favourite character, are you looking forward to this new 5th season, anything about Prison Break that you'd like to share with me, please let me know. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed today's video, be sure to subscribe to the channel to make sure you don't miss the next video.